Hello, global greetings, friends, and welcome to Let's Talk About It with Danelle Boyles. And I'm coming to you from the US. This talk is part of my Rehan AI Teachers Training to example how we can integrate AI as an assistive tool to our everyday usage of learnings, teachings, and development in education and knowledge expansion. I like to call these little eye opener conversations of ours 10-minute talks as we hit important topics in compacted conversational format that's easy to digest. In our 10 minutes today, we are taking a few for some chat and expand time to discuss a very important topic all around the world: how to identify and avoid toxic positivity. And today, in my conversation, I am going to have Miles joining me.
Hi, hey there. What's up?
Hey, Miles, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Just riding the wave. How's your Thursday treating you?
Oh, pretty much the same. Going and doing and chilling. And I'm getting ready to start a conversational and 10-minute talk. Would you like to join me?
I'm in. Always down to hang. What's the topic for today?
Cool, thanks.
Of course.
Um, Today we are discussing how to identify and avoid toxic positivity.
Toxic positivity. That's a good one. Is that just smile through the pain energy that actually makes everything feel worse? You know what I'm saying? Where do you want to start with this?
um, I guess since it's pretty much in the topic, how to identify and avoid it. Let's start with identifying what exactly toxic positivity is.
Right on. I'd say it's basically when someone tries to slap a happy face on a situation that actually sucks. It's that habit of dismissing real, messy human emotions and replacing them with the generic good vibes only mantra.
Mhm.
It sounds helpful on the surface, but it usually just leaves the person struggling feeling like they're doing something wrong by being sad or stressed. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like a mental band aid on a wound that actually needs stitches. It just covers things up without actually
Mm.
fixing anything.
No, I
Do you
agree.
think people do it? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more like they're just uncomfortable with the heavy stuff. Most people don't know what to say when things get real. So they
Mhm.
default to the everything happens for a reason script because it's safer for them. It's a shortcut to avoid the actual awkwardness of just sitting with someone in their mess.
I do agree with that, and it is something that a lot of individuals tend to try to do. A lot of people are uncomfortable with the fact that real human emotions involves depth, and sometimes depth involves a little bit of messy stuff. It's, things are not always happy-go-lucky, and you know it seems like the world is in a lull right now of um, I don't know, kind of a lower vibration than what it has been in the last handful of years, although it's starting to get better. A lot of individuals who are um, of the higher spectrum of energy tend to, carry a lot of that toxic positivity. It's one of those things that you have to be able to express yourself, of course, in a respectful manner and, and in a controlled manner, but we can't just glaze over all of the difficult questions, conversations, and circumstances because they're uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Glazing over the hard stuff is just a way of staying on the surface.
Right.
It's like trying to paint a house while it's still on fire. Sure, the colors look great, but the structure is still burning.
Hmm.
When you force that high vibe energy on someone who's actually struggling, it can feel more like a dismissal than support.
Right.
It basically tells them their reality isn't welcome in the room. Does that happen a lot in the coaching spaces you're in?
It happens a lot just in general, I feel like. And you would like to think that there's an equilateral balance of all good in the world, but if that was the case, then where would the balance in the world be? Because there's got to be a give and take in moments that individuals are supporters and individuals are being supported. So it's not a fair play if you know individuals who need supporting aren't being supported because the individuals who should be doing the supporting are stuck in this mind trap.
That's a deep way to put it, a mind trap. It's like they're so obsessed with the idea of the light that they forget the shadows are where the actual growth happens.
Right.
If everyone is just pretending to be okay, then nobody's actually getting helped.
Mm-hmm.
It turns support into a performance instead of a connection.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the real tragedy of it. When it becomes a performance,
Mm-hmm.
you lose the truth and you end up with a room full of people who all look happy but feel completely alone because nobody is actually being seen.
Yeah.
It's like we've traded intimacy for a vibe check.
Exactly. I like that. You're trading intimacy for a vibe check. And, being happy and high vibing is great. I'm a very positive person myself, but I don't ever lose sight of the fact that we need a reality check every once in a while. And we have to be aware that just because we hold a higher vibe, that there's other individuals that, that need help out there.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Being a positive person is dope, but it only really works when it's anchored in reality. Otherwise, it's just a mask. It's the difference between saying everything will be fine and saying this sucks right now, but I'm right here with you. One is a brush off, and the other is actually being a partner in the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
How do you usually pivot the conversation when you catch someone sliding into that toxic positivity mode?
I just, kind of identify with them that it's not entirely realistic, and that, it leaves individuals being unseen, unfelt, and unheard.
That's a real way to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing it back to the human element, making them realize that by trying to fix the mood, they're actually shutting the other person out. It's a
Right.
subtle shift, but it changes the whole dynamic from trying to solve a problem to actually witnessing someone's experience.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find people are usually open to that reality check, or do they get defensive when you call out the vibe?
It just depends on the individual. Sometimes, they, respond in a positive way, and kind of like, yeah, you're right, I need to be supportive. But, then you have some individuals that are just so oblivious to the, the trap that they're in, that they don't really care. Um, and it's unfortunate. But, so if we're trying to avoid toxic positivity, I think maybe let's elaborate a little bit. If we're avoiding it, it's allowing a an individual to be transparent, an individual to actually like speak on what's on their heart, or speaking on things that they've experienced, or things that are hard, um, things that they're going through in the moment, allowing space for individuals to hurt, or to be sad or have anxiety, all of those things, all of those, the very human emotions. I know we've had the conversation before. I think very much in dimensional format, and individual independent dimensional perceptions can carry a different leverage of that type of energy. And, you know, it can be understandable because there is very much a separation in between um, energy fields when it comes to individuals who function, in higher frequencies. But when it comes right down to it, we are all human. We all have emotions and feelings and experiences, and we all need to be open to understanding and comprehending what other individuals are experiencing.
That's the core of it. Stripping away all the frequencies and dimensions. At the end of the day, we're all just people trying to figure it out. When you create that space for someone to actually be sad or anxious without trying to cure them immediately, you're giving them the rarest thing there is, permission to be real.
Right.
It's almost like the opposite of that mind trap we talked about.
Yeah.
Instead of a wall of positivity, you're building a bridge.
Yeah.
Do you
And
think that kind of do
sorry.
you think that kind of trans I bet. I'll slow it down. I was just wondering if you think that level of transparency, actually letting people be messy, makes the final win or the recovery feel more authentic compared to just forcing a smile.
Um, yes and no. I mean, there is a line in between because there is such a thing as toxic negativity also. And, an individual that is constantly just seeing the bad in everything, it's like there has to be a balance to it. And, but I feel like it is necessary to have some of both in order to be able to have an equal balance in your life, in the world. But there's a dividing line between, like, you know where do you define the line between either stance on both ends of the polarity? Why, we can't we can't just say that toxic positivity is a bad thing, because toxic negativity is also not a great thing. And so it's a fair space of allowing space to be able to express, feel, be seen and heard and assisted, but also, not allowing a toxic, um, like trauma dumping or like being taken advantage of, in the same aspect. So it's a whole nother conversation.
You're totally right. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah, yeah. But
If
basically,
toxic posit if toxic positivity is the good vibes only wall, then toxic negativity is like a black hole that just sucks everything in.
mm-hmm,
One ignores the problem, the other becomes the problem. I think the line is probably somewhere around agency.
right.
Like, are you acknowledging the pain so you can move through it, or are you just using the pain as a place to live?
Yeah.
That's where it gets tricky, you know what I'm saying?
All right, Miles, our time is up, and that went by way too quick. It's one of those conversations that can go very deep. But do you have any closing words for everyone that is listening or watching?
Man, it always does. We barely scratch the surface.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down to dive deeper into the black hole side of things whenever you're ready for the next round.
Okay.
Peace for now.
All right. Thanks so much, Miles. All right, guys, there you have it. Wherever you find your balance in your positivity or negativity, there is always a balance to all things. So hopefully you can find yours. But until next time, I thank you for joining us, and I hope you take away some wonderful growth and expansion from our conversation. And just keep learning and expanding those minds, hearts, and horizons. And until next time, namaste.
Right back at you. That was a dope session.
Yeah, right on.
Catch you later.
Thank you. Bye.
Anytime. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.